Well, hello and welcome to the Fairhaven Church Parent Talks podcast, where we desire to equip and empower you as parents to lead well in your home. Today is the beginning of Advent, so it's going to be a really great next couple of weeks. I love Advent. I mean, it's amazing. And I'm joined by Levi and Todd, and so we're going to have some great conversations about what it looks like the beginning of Advent, what this means, some ways that maybe we can even resource you as parents, help you to think about some traditions that you can start in your home based on this season. And so let's talk about that. What is a tradition during the Advent season that you have in your home?
You want to go first?
Go first.
Levi?
Oh, I was hoping you'd go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I mean, I'll do it. I will.
You know your traditions better than I do.
So specifically, you're talking about like Christmas Day or like leading up to Christmas?
Whatever you feel like you want people to know.
Okay. Well, I will say I'll do Christmas Day because I think that one's fun for us. We have a gas fireplace, but we only use it once a year, and that's on Christmas Day. We'll turn it on. Miranda and I will get up early, turn it on, and make breakfast and whatnot as the girls, make their way. Usually open the presents at some point and have an awesome, delicious breakfast. But then, take time praying and whatnot. But the fire, I don't know what it is with the fire, but it's just so cozy and just a great tradition that we do every year.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's cool. I think my thought about this was like, what's good? What do my kids like to do? Because I feel like I have a ton of traditions that I like, but my kids are like, no. Like watching Home Alone. I want to watch that.
Yeah.
Now, that's not like an Advent. That's like a Christmas season. Like, I don't know. I like watching Home Alone. But the one thing that we try to do every year is we go out and look at Christmas lights together as a family. Yeah. And the pastor in me wants to over-spiritualize it all the time and just be like, we're going to talk about the light of the world, And my kids this year have been like... They've been like, why don't we ever put out Christmas lights? I'm like, because we work at a church and we have to be busy all of this season. So, but we always go out at least one night and look at Christmas lights,
nice.
and it's usually pretty close to Christmas, or honestly, sometimes it's like after because we've got a lot going on before that. But that's a fun thing that my kids actually really love doing. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like the Advent traditions, like for the whole season, are getting harder in our family because of the ages of our kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The schedules of sports and different things. Something we used to love doing a few years ago was going through these Advent books together. And every night we would read like each of the days.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years ago, we realized we were having to catch up on like 5 days at a time. And we were like, this is not sustainable. It's not working. But it was so fun when the kids were a little bit younger. But as far as on Christmas, a tradition we've kept in our family is when I was growing up at my grandparents' house, the youngest person who could read always read the Christmas story from the family Bible.
That's
and so,
fun.
So we've always done that. Every Christmas morning, we talk about the things that we're thankful for.
Yeah.
And then we read the Christmas story from my family's Bible. Like I have my parents' Bible they got when they got married.
Cool.
And so we read out of that, which is really fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
So now the kids, I don't have any more kids who are younger than my youngest. So it's just a rotation now.
Do you
it's just rotating.
Yeah. Draw straws or something.
Yeah.
But like in a good way, like it's a good thing to get this.
Oh, they all want to do it.
That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Super fun. So
that's fantastic. I'm going to steal it.
I think you should.
I'm going to steal that idea.
It's a really good one. So we know that Advent, it's a season of hope, and it's a season of expectancy. And I think that's something that I love so much about it, is we're so focused on like the 4 weeks of Advent. Mm-hmm. And even though we know the story, like there's so much expectancy still in it. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to kind of jump back in the Old Testament, actually, as we're talking about what's happening today on this first week of Advent, because in the Old Testament, it was prophesied that a Messiah would come. Mm-hmm. And the people who heard about this had to wait for a long time with expectancy. So Todd, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so in this lesson, we're going to focus on 3 prophecies, and 2 in Isaiah and 1 in Micah. And so they talked about Messiah coming, that there would be a son who would be born. They would call him Emmanuel, which is God with us. So he would be divine. Again, a child would be born. The government would rest upon his shoulders, meaning he'd be a divine king. They would call him Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace. And Micah talked about where he would be born in Bethlehem, and that he'd be a ruler in Israel, again, a divine king. And I like this. It talks about how he's from of old, or from Ancient of Days. So again, waiting for the Messiah, Jesus, to come. But it would take 700 years from the time those prophecies were made until Jesus would eventually be there.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, that's why we have hope, though, is because the prophecies were there, and we get to see all of them fulfilled. And then we get to see Jesus and this hope that we have because of Jesus. But you can't skip over the fact that these people waited 700 years. And, you know, as I'm processing through that and just thinking about waiting, I mean, in our culture, it's hard to wait like 24 hours for something. Like,
yeah, I don't order something on Amazon if it doesn't have 2-day shipping.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, what? It's not worth it.
And if that is so true, because if I do order something and it didn't come in 2 days, I'm like, what is happening? What is this world coming to?
Yeah, something's broken. You know, the world is broken. It takes this long.
Yes.
What a silly thing, but
yeah, but they waited 700 years. And so much, there's so much hope in that, but there's so much like expectancy, and so much that we get to learn from the waiting. And I think sometimes because we are such a fast-paced culture, we miss out on the waiting. Yeah. Because the waiting's an important part too.
It's a good lesson for my kids.
Not you.
Not you, just your kids.
No, I mean, all of us need to learn that, but just thinking about that is a lesson that kids, like my kids specifically, like they have a hard time waiting for things. And I mean, we joke about it, but it's true. Like I have a hard time waiting for things too, if it takes more than a couple of days. But it is true that many of the best things in life take a lot of time, and many of the best things in God's plan take even longer than. That's what we're seeing,
right?
In the 700 years, you know?
Right? So, because we, though, are so used to being in a fast-paced culture, when we are waiting on God now, I think a lot of times we assume that He's not answering, or like there's something wrong. So how do we remind ourselves as believers that we have hope too in the waiting?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's this verse that comes to mind. I mean, I love that there's a verse that comes to mind, but before I get to that, I love that we have a time of the year that we say we are waiting. And that's what Advent's all about, is that we're waiting on the coming Messiah. And we wait for the second Advent, but we do have a good example of the first Advent, right? And so it is great for us to spend a season of each year saying, oh, we're waiting. We're waiting for Jesus to come back, to come again. And so I just think that like having a part of the rhythm of our lives, that like everyone in the church has this part of their, it's like a rhythm that we just have created over hundreds of years, or thousands of years, lots of years, many years. But it's a rhythm to remember we are waiting. We are in waiting. But the verse that comes to mind is be ready in season and in every season to be ready to give a reason for the hope that you have. And I think it's super easy in the Christmas season for us to go, Jesus is the reason for the season. You know, it's to be, you know, it's kind of, it feels cheesy, but like it is true that we are in waiting for a king that will come and make all of the wrong things in the world right. That he's the one who's going to bring to its completion our sanctification and our glorification. Like all of that happens when he comes. And I can't wait. Like so how do we keep our hope in season and out? How do we give reason for it? It's that he's coming again. And we put all of our hope in Jesus, that he will be the one who makes it all good.
Yeah.
And that's going to be cool.
Yeah. And another part in the waiting during Advent is the preparation part, right? Like during the Advent season, we are preparing for a big celebration, right? Like we put a lot of effort and energy into being prepared for this day when we're going to come together with family and friends or whoever, and we're going to celebrate. And so it just makes me think, like, how are we as believers preparing while we're waiting for the second coming of the King? And so how do we do that well? So what do you think? How do we do that well?
Fill lamps with oil.
Yeah.
That's the one analogy that Jesus, the story, it gives this parable about these, is it bridesmaids or bridegrooms? No, we're waiting on the bridegroom.
Yeah,
you know what
I was like, about? Bridesmaids.
Is it I always think
don't
it's
remember
bridesmaids.
reading about that.
I don't know. It feels like the bridesmaids. I don't know. The groomsmen that doesn't make sense. I don't know. So
the bridegroom.
Yeah, the bridegroom's coming, and they don't know when he's going to show up.
Right.
And some of them have enough oil, and some of them don't. And so, what does it mean to fill our lives up with oil ready for God? Because he says, be ready.
Yes.
And that's the analogy he gives. It means that there's something actively that we need to do. This isn't a passive waiting. I think that's the thing that's on my heart right now, is that like when we wait on God, it's not a passive thing. It's not just like, well, he's going to show up when he shows up. He's called us to do some things, and that's everything from steward, the gifts that God has given us. It's all the things that like we know we're supposed to do, right? We're going to glorify God today. We're going to take care of our family and make sure that like we lead them well, to help our kids. I'm thinking about like, what do you help your kids? How do you help your kids be ready? It's training them up in the way that they should go. And anyway, so that's my thought. I don't know, Todd, I'd be interested to think what you think.
I just think like the fact that, God made these prophecies and kept the promises, just continuing to like rehearse those promises, knowing that he is a God who fulfills what he says he's going to do. And so just leaning and resting into those. There's so much brokenness in our world, and we need a bright hope, and God can do that through his promises as we kind of lean into those and remember them.
Growing up in the 90s, which we
Those
all kind of did.
I love the 90s.
The videos on the rapture, this just makes me have this remembrance of like what really stuck out to me, because we're talking about preparedness, is what would I be doing when the Lord comes back? And I always think about that. And as we're sitting here, I'm thinking about that. Like, I want to be found faithful when he returns. Like, I want my life to, I don't want to be like, oh my goodness, I don't think this is what's going to happen. But I don't want to have the like, I can't believe this is what I was doing when he came.
I don't want
like,
to be watching Home Alone.
Yeah. Whatever. I just want, when he comes back, to be found faithful.
Yeah.
So, and
that's a good thing to be thinking about. I always think of my grandma thinking about that. Not that you're like a grandma. That's not what I'm saying.
Man.
That was bad. I'm not. That's now I dug myself into a hole. But no, like I always think about, I don't want to go. She would say things like, I'm not going to the movies, because like, what if Jesus comes back? And I always was like, Grandma, come on, But now I'm in this season of life where I'm like, I just don't want to give my time to things that don't have eternal significance. Like if I'm choosing between something that lasts for like an hour or something that's going to last for thousands of years, why would I ever spend that time doing that thing? So I don't know. That doesn't mean we shouldn't go to the movies.
No.
That doesn't mean we shouldn't watch Home Alone with our kids. I kind of joke about that, but
it helps us to wrestle through it and to think about like, what is my character?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what am I building my life on? What is my foundation? I think that actually leads us into what I want to talk about next, because if it is the first day of Advent, there are opportunities for parents with your kids, or for you individually, to really lean into this 4 weeks of this season leading up to Christmas. And so we have resources here at the church that I think are incredible. I think like Levi, you lead a lot of those, and Todd, you lead a lot of those. And so I just want you guys to be able to speak to what it is that they can engage with. And then maybe if there's something that you know of personally that's been an encouragement to you, I think in that preparedness, in that waiting, like we have an opportunity to really lean into the hope of Jesus. And we do that when we're in strong relationship with him. So like, what are some of those things that we can recommend?
Yeah, I'd like to plug the Kids Online. We spend a lot of time trying to make that engaging for the kids and families. And that Kids Online experience will tag right along with the Advent and the Advent kit that we have at home. Those words, hope, joy, love, and peace will all be a part of that. And each of those, there's questions at the end, prayer prompts, and prompts for reading scripture as well. So that's something, that would be an easy start if you haven't started in that. One thing personally that we've done when our family was a little bit younger was an Advent calendar, which is such a simple thing. But we have this little like house thing that has 24 drawers in it. And in each drawer, we put a verse, a gospel-centered verse, or part of the Christmas story of how Jesus came, and then some chocolates in there. So the girls would open that up, and we would read the verse together, talk about it. They'd enjoy the candy. And so if you haven't started something, that's a really simple way to start Advent, just to, 5-10 minutes a day, just opening some of those verses up.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I would say, honestly, the first question we had was a little bit challenging for me because I was like, I don't know if we do anything that's like good on a, help lead your kids to Jesus, like Advent thing, until we actually found the Fairhaven cards that we put on our table that walk us through Advent. It's a family devotional that you can really use, and the kids have really latched onto it, and we've done it for the last 2 years now. And everyone reads a little section of it. The kids, I have two, they'll be like, I want to read today. And then we have to, we're fighting over who's reading about Jesus. So like, that's like, okay, like we're going to take turns. And, but that has been, I think, doing trying not to make it a big thing, but trying to make a small little investment. Like when we sit down, we're going to eat dinner together. And, we're starting to get to that phase where it's like, okay, you've got a, Christmas show over here, and you got, and so, we have to be intentional about, okay, we know that these days will be harder for us to do that. So, but that has been maybe in the last couple of years, the spiritual prepare our hearts for the coming Messiah, like celebrating that. Let's make sure that we, have that focus. That's been the most intentional we've ever been with it. And I've been really excited about it. It's been really good. The kids like doing it, I wish we had chocolates though. That would have been,
just add it in there.
We got to just throw that in. Chocolates.
Well, I think at the beginning I was talking about the devotionals or the story. It's actually these books. It's 4 books that you read through that are all connected to each other, but it's 1 chapter each day. It's not a full chapter. I don't want to freak people out, but they are so incredible because they talk about what it would be like when everything was going on when Jesus was born. And so it's like the backstory. So it's like Jotham's journey, Bartholomew's passage, and there's 2 other ones that I'm blanking on right now. But they're really great for elementary-aged kids. There's actually a little bit of some scary parts for preschoolers probably. But in elementary or a little older, I think they're just a really great resource and super fun to read through. So that's something I would recommend. But definitely all of the resources that we've talked about would be super great for you as families. And so I hope that you'll engage with something. I mean, even if you can't do it today and you're like, hey, at the end of the week, I'm going to start something, it doesn't matter. Just get it started. We'd love to be able to journey with you. The other thing, I don't think you mentioned.
Oh, yes.
The dailies.
I didn't mention.
Mention that quickly.
Yeah, so the dailies, can I mention 2 things?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So the dailies, we are... it's an individual for you personally to prepare your heart, but it's going to flow within the context of the printed cards that we have for Fairhaven the Advent cards that I was talking about earlier. And so they kind of go together. It's like if you did the daily in the morning individually, it'd be great things to be thinking about and praying through as you go to the time where you're together with maybe your family or your kids, and you've already spiritually thought about these things and talked to God about them, and then you get together and it could be great. It's a great thing, I think, for families maybe to do, especially if older kids out on their own. And maybe they do the Fairhaven dailies as well. You can encourage them, hey, let's all do this before we come together because it's going to help us. So it's a good resource for individuals in the family to think through that content. But then the one thing I was thinking specifically for our older kids, families with like teenagers, one awesome thing about this season is a great season to make God known in, because so many people are in on at least cultural Christianity with like, we love Christmas. And so for them to see this as an opportunity to invite a friend into Wonder of Christmas or to Student Sunday nights or Wednesdays, like these are great opportunities for students to make God known in their community because we have fun Christmas stuff that people are like, oh, I'd come to that Christmas thing. And so just encouraging your student to like, how can you make God known? Let's do this as a family. Let's be praying for somebody in our life that God's placed there for us to be the light towards. And so,
that's great.
Good thought.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the resources and thoughts. And as we wrap up week 1, we'll be excited to have you join us back next week because we're going to talk about peace. So make sure to check it out.